Hello, my name is Laura Irvin, and today I'm talking to you about my research project, Patrick Henry, and how his life was influenced by his faith. So I'm going to go over the findings, my historical analysis of Patrick Henry's faith, and then I'll go over my conclusion, and then I'll go over a few of the types of sources that I used for this. So first, let's go over my findings. So Patrick Henry was a slaveholder, and slavery is against Christianity. Like, it's very wrong. So Patrick Henry understood that, and he believed that slavery was wrong also. He felt that it was repugnant. And so one of the ways in which he used his faith to explain that was he, as a Christian, explained and told his sons and daughters, and believed that one day, generationally, slavery would end. But until then, he would have a paternalistic view towards his slaves. And he vocalized how wrong it was, not only through letters, but also in speeches. And his faith allowed him to help explain why the importation of slavery was wrong. So that is how he used his faith to explain slavery was wrong. Not only did he say that it was wrong, but part of it was accepting of his consequences and his actions, and confessing the illegitimacy and wrongness of slavery with each speaking engagement and the impropriety of those actions. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is the Yazoo land fraud. So the Yazoo land fraud was when the Georgia governor sold 15.5 million acres to several different land companies. They were all purchased for about 2 cents an acre, and Patrick Henry was involved in this. Patrick Henry, his faith was important through this because it really besmirched his character because of how awful the land deal was, because of the amount of speculation and how it would ruin generations of land. And so his faith was held out because he continued to explain how he was not part of this disastrous and horrible group, even though he did purchase it, because he had tried to purchase it before the second time when they actually did purchase it. And he actually sued the state of Georgia for that. So the third one that I'm going to talk about is his actions in the Revolution. And so in the Revolution, he gave a speech, "Give me liberty, give me death." And in that speech, he had several biblical verses that he used. Not just, there were quite a few. One of them was talking about the snares of his feet. And then another one talked about like the kiss to tell the traitor. And so like they would betray him with the kiss. And so he talked about how the colonists should not fall for those kind of things with the British, and that it was their godly right and duty to rise up against the wrong tyranny of the British. So in conclusion of my information, how was Henry's faith and life impacted by faith? Henry lived his life according to his belief, and he followed the scriptures. When he failed to follow the scriptures, like with slavery, he disclosed that information to his family and friends, and as well as the public, holding himself accountable to those actions. He also maintained that he was a victim of the Yazoo land fraud, going so far as to sue Georgia. He never relented in the fact that he was defrauded, and it can be debated about his involvement. But if you rely on his actions, you can see that he was trustworthy throughout his entire life, and that he was consistent. Patrick Henry's beliefs and values formed and allowed him to become the notable figure in history despite all of his setbacks with the Yazoo land fraud and with the slavery. So what are some of the different sources that I used to understand this stuff? I used William Mort's sketches about Patrick Henry. I used Red Hill's primary sources. I used Thomas Kidd. There were 2 different books, one about Patrick Henry and one that we used within the class. I used a New York Times article about slave trade that Patrick Henry wrote himself. So there are quite a few different primary and secondary sources that I used. I hope this helps explain my research project a little bit more. Thank you so much.